Alright, today I'm going to be replacing the retention ring on the glory hole. So the doors look like they're in pretty good shape. They look like hell, but they're actually working pretty well. All the castable always cracks. There's no point in replacing something just because of a small crack unless it's not functioning properly. That leads to this. So this is the retention ring, holds all of the bricks and the front of the glory hole together. So you can kind of see how this one protrudes a little bit and doesn't allow you to close the door all the way. So when I first took over, I made molds of a bunch of different parts. This is the mold for the small retention ring, and I cast a few extra parts. So that saves me a little bit of work today, having to recast this. I do have to cast some doors possibly in the future, so I will do a tutorial on that. But over here I have small glory hole doors, right and left side, the medium hole retention ring, sill for the furnaces. I do have to cast another one of those. And up on top of that gray metal cabinet are a few more things for the bigger holes. Anyway, since I already have that part done, I'm going to go ahead and get set up to, I guess, take a time-lapse photo or a video of the hole coming apart, and we'll get to work. Alright, so now you can see I took out the old retention ring. Still have some cleanup to do back there, but for the most part, it's about taking this, sticking it in there, and bolting it back up nice and tight. Hopefully it all fits really well. If not, I can shave it away with a little file just to make sure all this hardware fits in nice and well. All right, that went pretty well. See, I could have cast that a little bit thicker, by a good 1/4 inch at least, if not 1/2 inch or more. Lesson learned. That just means that I'll pour this a little bit deeper. I'll take a better measurement of how deep the existing ones are and pour that one accordingly. But everything else looks good. Nice fit in between the two. I didn't crank these bolts down too hard, because when it's hot, it expands and that'll encourage cracking. Like I said before, it's all going to crack anyway, especially in public access studios where you teach a lot of intro and intermediate. I did take out a bunch, probably a good 1.5 inches or so of glass. That's a lot. I should really clean this out more often and not let it get that deep. But I'm going to go ahead and vacuum that out and replace all this sand. And I will sift a layer of this castable using a powder sifter just to create a light little layer on top of the sand, and then I'll spray that down. So that layer of castable just creates a hardened shell that protects, it keeps the sand underneath from being blown around when the burners fire up. All right, so I got the sand in. This is play sand. Unfortunately, it's a little fine. It's not ideal. We should use a little coarser grade sand, grain sand, so it doesn't get stirred up. But since we're sifting the layer of castable on top, that'll kind of help that problem. So I just put in a layer, I don't know, it's probably a good inch or so thick, at least, on the bottom. All the soft brick that gets chewed up, you just want to replace all that plus a layer on top. I did make it a little bit deeper along that back rim, being that we have the side hole that also gets a little dirty and needs a little attention as well. Anyway, I'm just dealing with the floor today, so the next step is sifting, using this sifter to sift about an 1/8 of an inch layer of this castable on top, and then I'm going to spray it down with water just to make sure that hardens into a nice shell and doesn't disturb all the sand that's underneath. And any markets that go.